and I've got a little funky one right there. And for anyone who's joining, or for people that are going to see it later on the tape, what we're going to do is we're going to make a recipe that Pat, who's my father-in-law, is quite famous for. I had his recipe made into a tea towel, and so this is the recipe I'm going by, and it's Ralph's Cabbage Rolls, and I'll post it later if anybody wants to see it. So Pat was just getting ready to tell us the history of the cabbage rolls, and you might have to talk kind of loud because I don't know how well the audio is doing on that. So what is your first memory of cabbage rolls?
My first memory, actually, of cabbage rolls, it was Mom making them, but her mother-in-law, or Dad's mother, had made them first.
Was that Cora Helton?
Yeah, Cora Helton.
So that was your Grandpa Frank's wife?
Wife,
Okay.
yeah.
And your Grandpa Frank owned a general store, right?
Right.
And he lived really close to you when you were growing up?
Well, most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I went back and read a little history that you gave about growing up in on Line Fork,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Letcher County.
Right.
And when you all your first memories were of a little one-room cabin.
No.
No?
No, we lived in this house, and up on the hill. And what I remember first was Don and I could hear this thing going, ooh, ooh. So we investigated, and it was a screech owl.
Oh. Now, for those who don't know, Don is your oldest brother.
Don's
And he
old.
passed away, 30 years ago, Meg? Yeah, I bet it was 30 years ago. Yeah, he's been gone for a while. And I think some of his kids are watching this, so they probably haven't heard a lot of the stories about you and Don and Jack growing up in Kentucky. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this started so that we can do that, and then Pat can keep talking. But I'm going to wash my hands because I've been petting the dog. So I'm going to do that real quick because I know, don't you have to mix this with your hands, Pat?
Right.
And for those that don't know, Pat will soon be 87 years young, right? Does that sound right?
No. Mom?
No, you.
Oh, me?
So you'll soon be 87?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all masked up here because we want to, make sure we protect Pat. So according to your recipe, I've got a pound of sausage, right?
Right.
And I got 1 cup of this Uncle Ben's converted rice.
Right.
And I'm gonna just mix this up with my hands.
Right.
Okay.
And make it into balls, dump it around.
Okay. So, and the other part of it is, tell them what we did with these cabbage leaves, Pat. These cabbage leaves. What did we do to those first? You remember what you told me to do to the cabbage leaves?
To get them off of the.
Yeah.
Put them in a pan of real hot water. Well, actually boiling some, but I cut the core out of them.
Yep, that's what I did.
And that way that let the.
So they didn't tear. Right.
Right.
Makes
Yeah. Well, without without heating them, you couldn't get them off of the cabbage head.
They wouldn't be that soft, would they?
No, it wouldn't be that soft.
Okay, so this is my softened up cabbage leaf.
But I generally always cut that hot that.
Well, you tell me that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to.
I ain't gonna have to.
I'm
You just
gonna
don't need it.
Well, it'd be kind of tough to eat, right?
You don't need it.
We got plenty of them. Okay, so all right, we'll get rid of that.
Okay.
So now I'm.
You got it?
Is that about right?
Have you got it mixed good?
Yeah, it's mixed up for you. It's got that piece in it. So you think that's about right?
Yeah, that's about right. Just roll it up.
Oh, roll it. Okay. gonna put it in my cabbage leaf,
Yeah.
and I wanna try to roll it tight enough that it won't come out while it's cooking.
Right,
Okay, and I've got a pan here that Teresa gave me this.
yeah, you should have your,
Oh, put my juice in there?
this stuff.
Okay, so he said you take about a quart of tomato juice, and I'm
Yes.
gonna put that in the bottom of the pan,
Same amount of water.
and the same amount of water, okay?
Actually, you could have more of either one, but more juice would make it taste better.
Okay. We'll start with the original recipe. We'll go 1 to 1 here. And I've got more tomato juice in the refrigerator.
Okay. Then
So,
you wanna, well, you can put your salt in it.
okay,
You're supposed to get that off.
Just lay it down like
no, so lay it where the bottom there kind of keeps it folded.
Now you can put that.
so that it don't come apart.
He's telling me how to do it. Mike wants to know if I should heat that first.
Yeah,
Should heat it before I put this in?
absolutely, yeah, right.
Okay. All right, so we're going to the stove. Okay, so we'll get that nice and hot. Now go ahead and put some salt, what, a teaspoon or so of salt?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
Shouldn't always put more salt on it.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll leave that one there and I'll make some more, so we're continuing to make, and I'm gonna break that big hard piece out of there. Cause Teresa's over here shaking her head saying that needs to go.
You don't have a small pair knife?
I do, but it's right there where your knees are and I don't wanna, no, it's okay. Mike says cook it, just don't eat it, so.
Don't eat the whole.
Making them maybe just a little bit bigger than a golf ball, you think?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's about what we're doing here. And he told me earlier that if you don't think your cabbage is gonna hold on there real good and tight, you can stick a toothpick in them. But I think if you lay them down with that foldy bit underneath of it, it shouldn't be a problem.
Derek Brown says that garlic.
Derek, we've got people commenting here, Pat. Derek says we should add garlic to this. Now, would you ever add garlic to your cabbage rolls?
Derek
Would you ever put garlic in them?
no,
No, Derek, we'll never put garlic in the
no,
cabbage rolls.
if you put,
Damn, I got people saying they can't find the link.
What, in the video? In the video?
Well, they have to be in the video. Oh, he's on my Facebook page, so,
No, it's being posted to the Cabbage Rolls group.
well,
Anonymous said link, but can't seem to find it.
well, I think that was earlier.
Oh,
See if Ananda's on there now.
I don't know.
Dan, do you see Ananda in the?
does that one need to be, can you roll that up without,
You think? It's pretty firm. It must have been one of the inner leaves, because it's pretty white. But it's pretty firm.
well, once you make these one time, you never have a problem.
Well, you know, the thing is, I don't really like them. They're kind of they're a family tradition, that's for sure, because Pat and Teresa could never come to a family reunion without them. But as I recall, your sister, normally, she usually brings them too, doesn't she?
Right.
Yeah, so we have
But
dueling cabbage rolls.
she doesn't use tomato juice,
What did she put in them?
puree.
Did she not ever watch her mother make them?
Yeah, she knew,
Oh, she bakes hers, Teresa said.
yeah,
So you're a purist. You use your mother's recipe.
right.
Okay.
And Tony's wife,
Kim.
Kim made them.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that works her. Did you like hers?
Damn. Give me-
Richard
I don't know. I don't know.
Richard made them. He made two
Okay, so how do I get rid of all of that? Wasn't up there.
orders of them at the same time.
Oh, doubled it? Yeah.
He cooked his a little bit, the rice a little bit too long, and it got sort of mushy. You don't want it to be real mushy.
Well, I think kind of makes a difference what rice you use too. But
Yes,
yeah, so you gotta kind of use this converted rice. It's gonna be what maybe stays firmer longer. If you hear that little tiptoeing, that's my dog walking through the kitchen. Indy, go away.
With his bum leg.
Hey, Mike, get Indy out of here. He's smelling food. He thinks he needs to eat.
He's on site.
What I did, I always made up my balls up first.
That was probably a good idea.
and
How's your
put 'em-
liver, man?
Huh?
How's your liver?
It's not boiling yet.
Put them in a separate dish.
Yeah, I know, I'm doing it all.
And that way, while you just pick up cabbage leaf and
You didn't tell me that.
no, I
It
didn't.
wasn't on my recipe.
No.
So a few years ago, my sister was on a mission to get all these handwritten recipes. So I told her I would get one from Ralph. And when I asked him for the cabbage roll recipe, he said, I'll get Teresa to write that up for you. So then I told him that defeated the purpose. It needed to be in his handwriting. So he did write it up. And like I said, I used it to make a tea towel. So I have his cabbage rolls, and I have another one over here that has your stack cake recipe on it. So
Yeah.
we might have to make that one as well one day. And actually, before we started recording, Pat told me that it's kind of a shame that his mother's stack cake, and most people in Appalachia make stack cakes with dried apples. But your mother made it with,
Vinegar. Well, she made it both ways.
yeah, but the thing you liked was the vinegar butter.
No,
No, you like the apple one. Okay.
apple butter better
But the
because the vinegar butter is what dried out.
and the vinegar one has been lost to history because Ralph's sister that knew how to make it has passed away, and so none of us are real sure about. I mean, I assume it was vinegar. Was it bitter?
No.
It had sugar in it.
Yeah, evidently.
Yeah, but you never saw her really make that, did you?
No. But the vinegar butter would sit up, it would dry.
So it'd be kind of like a glaze or something on it, or a filling.
Oh, yeah, that was the filling.
Yeah.
In between, instead of that, the apples or apple butter or whatever you want to make. And apple butter was good. It stayed moist and it would soak.
Because those are cakes you don't eat the day you make them, right?
No,
How long you usually let them sit?
well, we never let them sit that long.
Because there were 9 kids, so I never sit that long, I guess, right?
But, supposedly, I think it said on there, what, a couple of days?
Most of them I've seen, it says 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
Now Sharon has researched about stack cakes that people made like for weddings, and that each person would make one layer and then they would all put it together so that you got multiple chefs or cooks, making them. But my mom used to make stack cake, but it was dried apples.
Yeah.
So I read an interesting story in your thing there about.
That started to cook, yeah.
Yeah, it started boiling, so I'm
Yeah.
not start putting it in there. I read an interesting story in your thing about your dad built a shed just for drying.
Yeah.
What did you dry besides apples?
A kiln, they call it, the K-I-L-M.
Kiln. Yeah, like a potter's kiln.
You know, what he did, he put 4 posts in the ground and laid a sheet, a roof, of tin roofing.
Yeah, that corrugated metal stuff.
Yeah, corrugated metal. And then he would build a fire, we'd build a fire under that
Oh.
because the apples and things would be, about that high off the ground.
Yeah. And you have them on like screens or something? Or do they just
On the
in
metal.
Oh, on the metal?
Yeah.
Is that what you put them on the
Yeah,
metal?
yeah, you just
Oh.
put it on the metal.
So how'd you keep skunks and possums and things from coming in there and eating your apples? Or your little brothers?
What, eat the apples?
Yeah.
They really didn't like them that much.
Oh. Huh, that's strange. But did you all try other things besides apples?
That's what you're doing.
Oh, sorry. Now, my tomato juices came to a boil.
Now, you put the water in the tomatoes.
Yeah, and I'm putting the cabbage rolls in here, and I'm gonna turn this down. I assume you don't want it to boil.
And then you let them boil.
Oh, let them boil.
They'll have to cook
Okay, well, my stove is really hot, so if I leave it on high, it'll boil dry.
with that little thing underneath.
They won't
Well, then
scorch.
you can make it hotter. It'll take an hour, 15 minutes at least.
So what you told me was very important, that you do not stir. You just let them cook. And I'll get my camera and come over here so you can see what this looks like in just a minute. So I'm not stirring them, I'm just squeezing to make more room. Okay. So there we go. Lid, you want to see? Okay, be careful.
I know, I'm sure it's okay.
Here,
You later, no, don't take it up.
I'll just show you, so you can tell.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
About enough juice on them?
Well, yeah, some of that boil away, most of it will.
Okay, all right.
But it really doesn't hurt to put some more tomato juice on there.
Okay, I got some more here in the refrigerator.
Because it's something else
Wait a minute.
that I probably told you. What did you do with the rest of that cabbage?
It's in the refrigerator. You want to eat it?
No. You can take the leaves off that and lay it on the
There,
top.
Mary, just take what you got there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Teresa said take it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one.
So, I only have one in there. I used all the rest of it. So lay those on the top, okay?
Yeah.
Let me get the rest some more. I'll put it in the refrigerator somewhere.
Appalachia said to tell you hello.
Uh,
Francis's daughter, Ananda, remember her? Don?
Yeah,
She said to tell you hello, she's watching.
okay.
from Arizona, or from California?
California.
From California.
She's probably,
And it's Diane on. Diane, are
she's
you up
probably
there?
our farthest.
Yeah, Diane's
Watching.
gonna try to join. I hope some more of the cousins got on, and I hope that,
Just tear it apart like that, that's good.
okay, let me got one more piece here. I'm hoping some of the cousins might have some questions for you. Okay, so I've got it all covered up. Now I got this much tomato juice. Should I put all of that in there?
Well,
Except
put
what,
about half of it.
just save him enough for a Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary's coming up.
Okay.
All right, so we got that going.
You can put all that cabbage in there if you want to.
Do you want? Will you eat it?
Yes.
That's what I like best.
So there's the meat lovers among us.
Diane's here.
Diane's here. Oh, good. Hi, Diane. Your mom's over here in the corner. She's not. We'll put her on camera in a little bit. Okay. So an amendment to the recipe is that the remaining cabbage, Paps wants it put on top of this to cook down because they like it best.
Would have been better fried.
Mike would rather have it fried. Okay. So Pat, you lived in Kentucky until you were how old? What age did you leave Kentucky?
Did I leave Kentucky?
You. How old were you?
Oh, how old was I?
18.
First time was 17.
Oh. Had you got out of high school yet?
We came up here and worked one summer,
You and your dad?
and Mike and Don,
Don, yeah.
and our job petered out, so we went back for the senior,
Oh, for your senior year.
my
Yeah.
senior year.
Uh.
And when the senior year was over, we came right back up here. And
Because you and Don, I read that when Don was 6 years old and Mama sent him to school, he would take his lunch and go out of sight of the house,
Yeah,
eat his lunch, and stay hidden until he thought it was about time, and then come home.
come home.
And when she found out that Don wasn't going to school, she just kept him back until the next year because you all were only a year apart.
Right.
So when you started first grade, you were responsible with getting him there with you?
Well, we both went together.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
He didn't want to be out there without you?
no. He just didn't want to go to school.
So then after you completed your senior year of high school, you moved back up here again?
Yeah.
Did the whole family come that time?
Not right then. Don and I got a job at the powder plant.
Oh, yeah.
On
A construction, yeah.
And
Where did they live?
so there was so many jobs that we wrote that a letter and told him to get the family together and come on up.
Because he had trouble keeping enough work in
Well,
Kentucky.
yeah, he wasn't working.
Yeah. So did he coal mine at one time? Was he a coal miner?
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, he did whatever job it took to.
Yeah.
And at that time, when they moved up here, I've heard stories
Yeah.
that it was like the Clampetts moving to Beverly Hills on a flatbed truck.
Well, it wasn't for all. It was a cattle truck.
Oh, cattle. Well, that's even better. They moved up to Indiana on a cattle truck. And where was their first house?
The first house that we moved in was down in Bull Creek.
Now, was that really the first one, or was that the one that Jack came to tell him about the new one and burnt the soles off his shoes? I remember hearing this story that Jack heard about another house and he went to tell the family.
Yeah.
They had a bicycle but it didn't have any brakes, and he was going down the hill, I guess at Bull Creek.
Yeah.
He literally burnt the soles of his boots off trying to get down the hill. What did he kill himself?
That's when y'all moved over to Butt Off Place.
Did you move to the Butt Off place? Was that the better place?
Yeah.
That's there near Newmarket, right off Zimmerman Road. Is that the house
Yeah.
that they
Yeah,
moved?
back in the woods.
And Tommy would have been how old? I mean, he was little bitty, wasn't he?
He just a little bit of guy.
Yeah. Teresa, you recognize this bowl? This is my Teresa dough bowl. I make bread in this bowl. So Peggy has a question, Pat.
I always wanted a little kettle like that. So we got 3.
They're too big. You like that one? Peg's got a question.
Hey, when you and Don moved up here to Indiana, where did you live?
With Uncle Denver named Myrtle.
Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Okay, so you already had family here.
Then Little came up, and Uncle Troy came up, and Richard and Rudolph, all of them lived with Aunt Myrtle and Uncle Denver. I don't see how we ever,
All of them?
yeah.
So Pat's mother's maiden name was Shepherd. Her name was Martha Shepherd before she got married. And she had a set of nephews, I guess, that were twins.
Yeah.
Your first cousins. And when they were born, one was little, but the other one was less.
Right,
And that's what they named them.
right.
Little and Less Shepherd.
Yes.
So I imagine the book Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come wasn't really written about him.
No.
but that was not a nickname. That was his real name.
Yeah.
Little Shepherd. And I think Less, they spelled it with 2 S's, didn't they?
No.
Just one? Oh, okay. So Little and Less Shepherd.
If you've got that picture, I can show you.
I've got the school picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, we looked at that earlier today. So and that was a school picture, 1939, and I think it was grades 1 through 8. And of course, you and Don were in the first grade.
Yeah.
But your uncle Philip, he was in it, and your uncle Forrester was in it. And Little and Less, your Aunt Irene is there. There's quite a few family members represented. Yeah.
Oh, there's about the birdhouses.
Oh.
Uncle Forster built.
No, this is about your. This is about George Helton. No, I don't think there was.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see if I can put this on the camera so people can see it. And I'm pretty certain that I know that this one right here is you, right?
That's Rondo.
And Rhonda was who?
It was Tad's brother.
Oh, that was your uncle too, so you had lots of uncles. So Mike, you or Dan want to tell me how we're doing on the picture here.
Well, I'm on delay.
Oh, Dan, how we doing on the picture?
It's on delay. We don't see it for a while.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, if you can see this picture, this one right here is Ralph, and he's saying this one was his uncle, his dad's youngest brother. Was your dad the oldest of the Heltons?
Yeah, let me help.
Was Bruce the oldest of the Heltons?
Okay, here.
No, I think Maggie was older.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Here, Mom, if you want to point, I'll hold it in frame.
Yeah.
How many kids were there, Dad? How many kids
It
were in
was about
Pepper?
13 or 14.
Your grandpa Frank had that many children?
Yeah,
Whoa.
he did.
Is that boiling too fast? Can you see? I want to make sure. Is that going too hard? Do I need to
Yes,
slow it down a bit?
yes, yes, no.
Okay.
You got people.
Yeah, okay. So, another real interesting thing that Ralph and Teresa did, I don't know, a few years back, is that made this diagram of, I thought was real interesting, of what the inside of your
House.
cabin looked like.
That was.
So, how old were you when you all moved into this cabin?
When we moved to the,
When you started living there? Were you?
we must have been, Don must have been about 4, and me
Was Shirley around when they
and
moved?
Shirley.
Okay. So, they had 3 kids when they moved in here. How many did they have when they left?
How many beds?
How many kids? Because Tommy wouldn't have
Oh,
been
about
born.
that, 'cause normally we had been born.
Oh, so they had 8 children. No, that would have been 7
About
children.
7 children.
Because normally it's the 7th child. So anyway, I'm going to show everybody this because I think it's real interesting. And how did you do that, Dan? Did you? Okay, so if I can watch myself, okay. So Teresa drew this little representation of the cabin, and you said this cabin was about 10 by 20, Pat?
20 by
20 by 20, the cabin was about the size.
Yeah.
And Mike said that the garage we had when we lived in Newmarket was the same size. So if you realize they only had room for 2 beds and a cot, but they had 7 children and 2 adults that lived in this house, and it was heated here in the middle by a wood stove.
And occasionally, we had company.
Did you have like a loft or a sleeping area in it? Do you know?
See, that's Irene right there.
Oh yeah, that's another one of your aunts.
You know,
I'm worried
she would stay all night with us, and
Are all of your aunts and uncles passed away now? Where you going, Peppers? Do you have any living aunts and uncles? Who's he looking for? I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I was just checking out. Do you have any living aunts or uncles?
I'm just not.
Irene, has she died?
Oh, there's none of them left.
None of your aunts and uncles are left. And you had some that were closer to your age, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because Irene and Mel,
Irene and Mel and
Yeah.
Rondo.
Rondo especially.
Yeah.
Was he the same age as you?
Plus there was one that guy that birthed her that was younger
Oh, really?
than Rondo.
Grandpa was
Yeah.
quite prolific, wasn't he? Yeah.
But Grandpa was a pretty good sized fellow.
So I'm hoping there are some of the Helton cousins out here that would like to ask some questions.
I haven't seen him.
You haven't seen any? James, is he gone?
Or anybody else?
Or anybody else. It doesn't have to be the cousins, but I thought they might appreciate this
That's
stuff.
the James of the
Yeah, that's the thing that tells who all these people are.
Now this is Don.
That's Dawn.
Oh, I was looking for a little of
So one of the things I read said that you all just had like 2 changes of clothing. And
Yeah.
be careful, I'm sure you didn't. And it was usually always overalls, I guess.
Yeah.
And when you got done with yours, did they pass down to Jack?
There wasn't anything left. they was
Shreds?
they strictly worn out.
Oh, okay.
And if we got outside in the wintertime, it got wet.
Mike, you turn that volume off, cause that's good.
Got wet, it come and it was cold.
You
Like,
had one thing to change into?
no, well, we just pulled them off and hung it in front of the stove.
Went in your skivvies?
Yeah. We didn't wear skivvies most of the time, didn't have
You went commando?
When we, in the summertime, when we lived in the log cabin, the creek was over here, and there was a cornfield in between that and the houses up on the hill like. But we pulled our clothes off in the house and run across that cornfield and jump in the water.
That corn kinda cut you up as you walked through there?
Well, no, anyway, we were like that skinny dipping,
Oh, yeah.
and Irene and a couple of the girls out of that picture come down the.
And you were naked?
We were naked, and I'm not gonna tell you how the rest of the part.
Did you get in trouble?
Well,
Oh, and for anybody that's interested, I did find this. This is an apron that your mother had. I assume she made it.
no, she probably didn't.
You don't think so? Somebody made it for her? But she never went without an apron. I don't think I ever saw that woman. I guess maybe if she went to a wedding, she wasn't wearing one. Church, she wasn't wearing one. But she always wore an apron, and I laughed and said, "This pocket right here was for your cigarettes, because that's what she had in it." And I'm thinking she smoked Winston's. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she
And a hanky.
and a hanky. So you'd have to have.
Actually, she smoked rolling Prince Albert.
Oh, in a can.
Yeah, Prince Albert, the can, and Buffalo, I think, and it was in a little pouch, sack like that.
So your mother, do you remember how old she was when she died?
No, I don't.
I think she was a lot older looking than she actually was. Was she probably in her 70s?
Oh, she was older than that.
Oh, did she make it to her 80s, you think?
Yeah.
But now your dad was quite young.
Oh, no, he was less than, he was only 60 something.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
of it. But he had emphysema, really.
Had emphysema.
From-
Let's see.
And he did not smoke.
He smoked.
Oh, he did? I
Yeah.
never remember him smoking.
He smoked till he couldn't,
Oh, for the emphysema. was
Everybody
there.
smoked back
and
then.
then he started chewing.
Oh,
She never drove.
yeah.
She
No,
never
she-
drove a car.
Peggy, tell the story Mama Helton told you of how she had 9 kids and what else she never did.
Well, I was there one time and I was having some problems, because of being a woman. And she said, "Well, I never really had those problems." And I said, "Well, let's see, you were pregnant how many times? You probably never even knew that what happened. You just was pregnant all the time. Even she had some kid. She had a couple to pass, didn't she?
Did
Dad,
she
didn't
lose-
she have a couple of
Did
miscarriages?
she lose children, your mom? Did she have
Every
miscarriages?
day. Every day she lost someone.
Oh,
She probably did.
I think she told me she had 2.
No, I was talking about the fact that she was married for God knows how long, had 9 children, and said her husband never saw her naked.
Oh, probably. Yeah,
Never
that's
saw her
true.
naked in the
Yeah,
whole time.
I
they were
thought you meant
married.
the other story. Yeah, she
And-
said he never saw her naked.
Yeah,
No.
she told Peggy that.
Yeah, but she also told me, she
Well,
And she lived in a 1-room cabin, and he
Right.
never saw her naked.
well, she got under the covers,
well, not always naked. Partly.
Very
pulled
good.
up her gown.
All right. Next subject.
She would take her dress went over her head and down. And as that dress went down, this,
The nightgown.
no, it wasn't, there's the other dress.
Oh.
The other- yeah, it went down too. And so they, she,
They have people
Modesty.
perform in Las Vegas
Right.
like that, and then
Right.
taking their clothes on and
Right.
off. Yeah.
I think I only saw her twice have her hair down.
Yeah.
I never got to see her
Yeah.
much with her hair down. She always had her hair up in the bun.
Done. In fact, my grandmother sent her some hairpins because my grandma wore a bun too. And your grandma was complaining that she couldn't find these big hairpins that she liked. And when my grandma was there and she was putting her hair up, she said, well, take these to her. And she sent her like 5 or 6 of those big, I don't know, look like huge bobby pin kind of things. And so that Mama could keep her hair up in her bun. No, she never cut it, did she?
No.
Sandra says Mama was 80.
Who did?
Papa was 60 and Mama was 80.
He was only 60?
That's what she's saying.
Who's this?
Sandra.
Sandy.
Oh, okay, good.
Hi, Sandy. So your niece, Sandy, is on there, so you can tell her hi.
Shirley, Sandy.
Yeah. She's listening to us. I'm gonna turn that down. This is a gas stove, Pat, so it cooks as hot as it could be. Okay, you wanna take a look? I'll take it off. What do you think? Doing well? I turned it down a little bit more, but I'm afraid it'll
Be
blow.
careful sitting down.
Yeah, I don't want the chair to slide out from under me. So another story I read in there was that one time there were some rabid dogs that came through your neighborhood.
Right, one.
Oh, and it bit your sow, a pig?
Yeah, Grandpa had Dad had an old sow, I guess, and they had a bunch of kids.
Piglets.
Kids, well, they were kids. But anyway, Dad worked on the WPA, and a bunch of the other neighbors up and down the creek worked
Yeah.
too. And the truck would come by and pick them up,
Oh, yeah, take them to work.
take them to work. Well, they picked that dog up and got it on the truck and then took it with them. But anyway, it got loose and it came back, and the old sow was in front of the house, and it jumped on, bit her right across the nose. I remember that, and built most of the pigs, but 1 or 2 of them didn't get bit.
Oh, it
Yeah.
bit some of the little.
Anyway, Uncle Carol, bought 1 or 2 of them or whatever, and he kept them, Dad, at Grandpa's, but he kept them for 2 or 3 years, and one of them finally went bad too.
So the big sow that it bit,
Oh, yeah,
you had to kill it,
yeah,
and you all lost the pig then because you couldn't
yeah.
eat it.
No.
That had been a big loss for
Yeah.
a poor family
Why couldn't eat them?
because they had rabies.
How'd you cook them when you kill them?
I don't know. I don't think they wanted to risk it. Of course, they didn't really cook it. You smoked the meat, didn't you? You didn't really.
No.
Well, you smoked it and kept to keep it.
Put smoked salt on it.
You cured it, yeah.
And if it was too warm,
It'd spoil.
spoil, Mom would can it.
Oh, really? She would can just chunks of meat?
Yeah, chunks of meat.
But because that sow had been bitten by a rabid dog, you just had to destroy
Yeah,
it.
just had to destroy her.
Yeah, that's
We
pretty
put
sad.
her, there was the cow had a shed, there's a corn crib,
It didn't bite the cow.
and she wasn't, they ran loose and they was gone.
Oh, your cow did, yeah.
The cow did.
So Pat said that they had fencing, but it was mainly to keep the animals out, not to keep them in, right? So you put fencing up around your garden and things you didn't want your livestock to
Right.
get to,
Right.
but it was impossible to fence enough to keep them in.
Mm-hmm.
Did you all do that thing where they knocked their ears or something so you could tell which?
The hogs, they docked their ears to tell whose they were.
Yeah, so you didn't have branding irons, so you just take care of their ears. What about the cows? Was that, I guess, cows?
Well, there wasn't but one cow, having the most generally, and they always had they wore a bell, a cowbell,
Oh, yeah, so you could find it to milk it?
and you could, and you know, that was my job.
To find it or milk it?
Before I went to school,
Oh, yeah?
find that cow and milk her.
Did she go off pretty far?
Yeah, sometimes.
Did you have to bring her all the way back to milk her? I guess you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
So I guess the fact that you didn't really have cows, you didn't have a lot of beef when you were growing up. You mainly ate pork and chicken.
Well, yeah, more, but we did. She had a calf, that one did, and so Dad, we raised the calf, and it was my job to feed it. And it killed it when it was, I don't know, got up, gave me, but it was my pet.
I was gonna say, it broke your heart, didn't it?
And I couldn't eat it.
Oh.
I had the same thing happen. My dad killed my pet cow. His name was Ethan. I didn't eat beef for 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Have him tell us about lunch, school lunch.
Oh, yeah. When you and your brothers and sisters went to school, you had to take your own lunch, right?
Well, we did, or we could come home, but when we moved up there above the store.
When you were living closer into
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
But what did you take for lunch?
Cornbread and milk.
And all of you ate out of the same pail?
Right. I had a 5-gallon lard bucket.
5 gallons?
Yeah.
You all took a lot of milk to school.
A lot of kids.
I bet 5
5
pounds.
5 pounds.
Yeah, so maybe about that big.
No, this one, that was an 8-pound.
Oh, yeah. And so you take cornbread?
Cornbread and milk.
You still eat that, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's one of those things I never.
I wouldn't eat that cornbread in my milk.
What he's referring to is the cornbread I made him.
Mom just made regular cornbread.
Well, that has cheese and onions
Yeah.
and sausage, and the ones on this side have jalapeno peppers, and the ones on this side do not.
Okay.
That's your side over
So
there.
that-
So he said that's not good cornbread to
Yeah.
eat with milk.
But Jack, now, we lived close enough that we could go home
Oh, you did?
at lunch. But Jack didn't want to go, he wouldn't go home. He'd stay at schoolhouse so he could fool with the girls.
How old would he have been?
How old would he have been? Oh, he was, I don't know, maybe 3rd or 4th grade, something like
He
that.
was a lover early on, huh?
Yeah,
That's funny. So you and Jack, there was a sister between you, Shirley, right?
Sure.
In age, but you and
Yeah.
Jack were really close, I guess, growing up,
Yeah.
weren't you? So close that you knocked him in the head and he still got that
no,
scar.
I didn't.
How'd Jack get that big scar? You didn't do that?
Yeah, he's got, I was the cause of it. But where we were playing, the road was on the edge, the lower part of the road was about like that. And he was over here, and I was up here, and I rolled that rock down over here, and that thing went and hit him in the head.
He wouldn't pay very close attention if a rock rolled it. How big a rock was it?
Always about that big around, but it's a flat rock,
Oh, so you had it rolling on the edge?
No, it just rolled, I just rolled it.
Oh, and because he's got it's kind of like a
Yeah.
slash.
Well, see, I got one.
Jack, get you back?
No. No,
How did you get yours?
it was regular recess, and the boys always played around town, whatever, ball.
Oh, like baseball.
Had a ball.
But
Yeah,
you didn't
baseball.
have you didn't have a
And
bat.
always had a homemade bat because we didn't have bats. And I was standing down 3rd base line, and it's one of my relatives.
I was gonna say it probably was.
He swung. When he swung, the bat came out of his hands, and it hit me right here.
Did you? I guess you didn't have stitches because
Oh no.
nothing like that existed. Did it ever amaze you that you and your siblings lived to adulthood sometimes? Because you didn't get vaccinations, right? Did you get any vaccinations at all as a child?
Yeah.
You did?
Yes, we had to.
What were you vaccinated against?
What diphtheria and what
Smallpox?
smallpox. Yeah.
chicken pox and measles and,
No, we had all that.
and that's what I'm saying, you had it, like whooping cough, did y'all have whooping cough?
No,
The teacher sent him home when he got hit by him. He went home by himself.
Yeah, I bet. I saw something about when you were 3 years old, you walked away from the cabin
yeah.
with nothing on but a shirt?
Yeah.
How far did you walk?
Well, that wasn't a yeah, it was a cabin, all about
Their house store.
maybe a fourth and church, but, well,
Half a mile?
let me think where I am. Maybe a block.
Oh, I thought the cabin was further away from your
No,
grandpa's
no.
store. Oh, okay. And your
Well,
mom,
yeah, I guess it was. It was a little bit farther, maybe 2 blocks.
well, they didn't have blocks back then, did they?
No, but,
Now, if anybody's ever seen it, I think it's on line, but Pat went to school at a school that was kind of famous. It was called Kingdom Come High School. And it was, I think, started as a missionary school, and then
yeah.
some benevolent people from...
See, Mom went to school there, and Dad went to school there.
Was it that same building, the one we went to, that's 2-story building?
No, it was up on the hill,
Oh, okay.
and it was a boarding school, and Aunt Myrtle also.
Oh, yeah, they all, how far did your parents go in? 8th grade?
Maybe a little farther than that. Dad didn't go any farther than that, I don't think.
Well,
Let's see if that cabbage.
okay,
30 minutes, about what you've been going.
okay. That, you can still got time to
Oh,
make
it's
it.
still
Yeah,
good back.
okay, be careful, I'm afraid when you go to sit back down, the chair's gonna make it.
It's been about 30 minutes.
The school that Pat went to, this Kingdom Come High School, it had a gymnasium, because we all went to visit there. Dan, do you remember going? You were
Very vaguely.
yeah, you were maybe 10, so we went about 25 years ago, and I think the school is gone now. I think they tore it down. But it was 2-story, and the gymnasium,
3,
it was 3?
Yeah.
And the gymnasium was the very top floor.
top floor.
And I believe what you told us was the gym floor, there weren't any end zones, or what do you call those, Mike?
Now,
Where they hung the goals right on the wall.
on
So layups were really hard, weren't they? You were running all the way down that court.
the chimneys.
Oh, they were on the chimney.
They put a quilt or,
Oh, they did, you put something there, keep framing yourself.
but you couldn't go around underneath, like.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, you just hit the wall.
And I think I've got a picture.
Of the inside?
Of the yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
On the outside, I don't know if I have one on the inside.
I had an outside one that I took when we were down there. Now, Peggy has another question.
Well, I don't have a question. I think that all 9 children graduated from high school. Now, that is a feat in itself. That's wonderful. All the kids, all your brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
That is just unheard of.
Now, some of them graduated from
New Washington, yeah.
Some of the
And
younger
some of them
ones.
down there.
'Cause,
But that's something.
yeah, it is. Well, it's a feat. They all lived.
Yeah,
Tommy wanted to quit.
yeah.
She said, "You're not quitting." She said, "You'll graduate if you had to go till I die."
He was on the long-term plan.
Yeah.
And then Tommy ended up going into the Marine, no, Navy, and he served in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Don was in the military, wasn't he?
Don was the war before that,
Korean War.
Korean War.
Yeah, okay,
But
so,
he got there. He didn't have to fight in it. I don't think. He got there when it was about over. And I got called, and I took my physical,
oh, you did?
and I was going to have to go. And they found out that I was married, and my wife was suspecting
There you go, Peg, that was the biggest thing you did, you sent county out of the war. Now, my dad was called, but I think he had a heart murmur, kept him out.
Well, Dad,
I can't seem to go between wildly boiling and.
Dad got called for World War II.
Your dad did?
Yeah,
How many children did he have at that time?
he had,
Probably 4 or 5, at least.
5, 6, 7, or 8, I think he had, well, it's a bunch,
Yeah.
but,
He may not have had Betty. Now, Mama told me one time that Betty, she would be the 8th child, the last girl, she was born real premature in the fact that Mama didn't even know really that she was pregnant, and she said they had her and kept her in a
Dresser drawer.
drawer.
And she wore handkerchiefs for
That
diapers.
diapers, that she was that small.
Uh-huh.
She said she looked like a skinned squirrel, is what she told me. But, no doctor intervention, no hospital.
no, none of us
Yeah.
kids.
But I mean, how much do you think Betty weighed then?
3 pounds or something, I think.
Oh my goodness, and lived and,
Without a respirator.
yeah, lived a long
I
life.
think allergies was the only thing that got to her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
growing
she
up.
had no
Yeah.
ill effects from being born that small and without any help or any intervention, and that's pretty rare too, right?
Well, now Tom was born when
Better be careful, Tommy's still alive, he might hear this story.
yeah. I know when Dad and Mom lived in the Badger house on the creek.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
little then, because
Yeah,
he was born in Kentucky.
Yeah, he was small.
How much older is he than you, Peg?
I think he was 5 or 6 when I was born, I think.
Is that-
And didn't he swim? Didn't he just jump? He swam like nothing. I mean, it was.
Before he was 6 years old, he could swim.
Yeah. He was Mama's baby, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Tell about the cook stove. I know you had to have wood to cook. Mama did, didn't she? She'd have wood to cook her meals,
Yeah, had wood stove.
and it heated up the house pretty good too in the summer.
Yeah, we had to have wood, had to have heating stove. We had a heating stove in the middle.
Yeah, I saw that in the diagram, yeah. So you had one that was just for heat, and then it had a cook stove along the other wall.
Well, she had a wood stove at Newmarket because I remember that.
Oh, 'cause she had like that, like summer kitchen,
Yeah.
and had a wood stove out there for a while?
No, it was in the kitchen.
Oh, you mean in her kitchen?
It was
she
in
had
the
a wood
kitchen.
stove at Newmarket?
Yeah, at Newmarket.
Well, coal stove, wood stove,
Yeah.
coal cooked hotter,
Yeah.
but it,
Use coal in the winter and wood in the summer? Makes
whatever
sense
you
to me.
could get. But when the first stove that she had in that log cabin was a step stove.
I don't know what that means.
Never saw a step stove.
You had to step up to it?
No, it just had a step out here. Stove, it was only about
Oh,
that
you
high.
had to bend over to cook?
Yeah,
Huh.
I know, I crawled under it one time and burned my back. So, we did everything.
That's what I said, it's just a
How
miracle.
long has that been cooking?
Mike said we've been going for about 40 minutes,
Yeah, at least 40.
about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You wanna poke one of them?
At least 40 minutes.
Take a cabbage leaf out and see how it,
On the cabbage leaf.
that,
She's got it.
Dad, did you ever have the recipe for Mama's cornbread? Because her cornbread was mostly, it was like, it had a lot of flour in it, didn't it?
is flour and meal.
Uh-huh.
It was more like a bread,
Uh-huh.
and it's still a little chewy, and it's hot, you will burn yourself. I won't be responsible for when he burns his mouth.
You all right now?
No, my mouth's pretty tough.
You all right?
That's a lot.
Looks hot. How we doing? That's from one of them on the top. Need to go longer?
A little bit, but the other part has, after you take that off, it has to cook longer.
What do you mean? After you take what off?
You just take the lid off, that part there.
Oh, take the lid off?
No,
No? Okay.
The top
Take
leaves.
them
are-
leaves.
Oh, take those top leaves off.
Yeah.
top lead.
Okay, let me have that plate and I'll get them all off. Here, you sit back down. I don't trust you until you get hurt.
Take all them top leaves off.
Okay. So, yet again, more secrets of the recipe. More secret of the recipe. He didn't put that in mine. It somewhat reminds me of my friend Joanne and the fact that she makes this wonderful cheesecake. And I think it's one of Dan's favorites, Joanne's cheesecake. And whenever I go to make it, I discover that she left out vital parts of the recipe that only she knows. So that's what Pat's doing to make sure we all can't recreate this masterpiece.
Have to come back again and eat it.
Yeah. That is not one of the toppings. Does anybody have questions, Dan? Yeah, I wish they'd ask that.
I haven't seen any.
Okay, so there, that's on the top leaves.
In the story.
You can eat those all you want. So you're gonna put the lid back on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nana was on, but she had to go. Sandy's on, and Diane's been on.
Yeah.
And Anna was on earlier.
Hannah Fligger? Oh, cool.
I don't know if she's still on.
No. Anyway, let's make this because they can't see that big old plate.
No new questions.
Yeah, big old plate. See, are you gonna eat that?
No, not good.
Peggy, you wanna try mine?
I'm gonna wait, it's hot.
Hey, that's mine.
Oh, Teresa likes the cabbage.
That's hot.
She's a friend of the cabbage.
Well, I like it too, but
Cause it's got all that good juice to
But
make
you're
it.
waiting for the real stuff, huh?
it needs a little bit of salt on it. And
Well, I put some in the stuff in the bottom, but,
Bless it, there you
They
go.
don't want to get the gravy.
alright. Mike is, for those that aren't here, Mike is frying fish out on the patio, so he didn't want to have.
Gigi's gonna regret not coming.
Is she on live?
I don't
She'll never know.
I don't know if you invited her. I just see her on the list.
I invited everybody.
Oh, okay. She doesn't check Facebook that often.
Okay. So anyway, he caught it yesterday? Friday. Yeah. So we caught some crappie and bluegill yesterday, so he's
Friday.
fixing you some fish.
well, okay.
I told him to keep all the bones out of it for you though.
You still got plenty of juice in
I
there.
think so, yeah.
And you can, just,
Want me to take one out and look at it?
well, don't take it all out, just take the cover off of it and,
Alright.
take a bite out of it.
I'm not taking a bite out of it.
Oh, no, that's still,
Oh, that's one of those extra leaves I have to get in my pot. Anyhow, I got it. Alright. So take a bite out. I don't know how to do that. Oh, come right there. Look at this. This is a wooden spoon. Guess who made me that wooden spoon? You certainly did. You whittled that right up. Everybody that comes in our house always comments about your
Walking sticks.
walking sticks. They like the walking sticks. Okay, put that down there. Mike, give your dad a fork, please. We're unwrapping the rolls. Now, some of the sausage that I bought is actually smoked, which I didn't realize it is. It's called smokehouse sausage. So it never really gets brown. It still stays kind of pink. So
But it'll be done.
it'll be done because
well,
we.
your rice, you
Oh,
got,
that's what you're looking for is whether your rice is done.
you want your rice to swell up.
So, yeah,
Of course, after it quits cooking,
it still keeps going.
it still keeps going.
Well, this says that you boil this for 20 minutes, but because it's stuffed down inside that meat, I'm guessing it takes a little longer. So Pat gets to taste everything before anybody else does.
He knows.
I don't know how he eats it so hot.
So, I can't call you James Helton for some reason. What, Jimmy is what I know you by, so anyway, your nephew, Jimmy, and then you have to clarify, because you got several nephew Jimmys, but
That's Don's.
Don's Jimmy wants to know if you have grandma's cornbread recipe, but we kind of decided that nobody really has that. Pat said she probably did like a 1-to-1 between cornmeal and flour. So if you ever want to try to recreate it, I would take a regular, you got juice in your lips there, I'm sure you don't want that lipstick.
And I know she put it in an iron skillet too.
Now when I knew, she always baked it in like an 8x8
It was like an
square
arm
pan.
piece. It was like an
Yeah.
arm metal pan. It was made out of some kind of metal.
Yeah, it wasn't
It was square,
cast iron
yeah.
skillet like,
Yeah.
that's what my mom always made it out of, but your mom,
Yeah.
she made it in a regular pan most of the time, at least later in life she did.
Most everybody did, a lot of them.
Yeah, and I wonder if it weren't because the cast iron skillets are so heavy that maybe it got to the point where she couldn't pick those skillets up.
Still got coffee over here.
And
How's
her
it feel?
biscuits were always, they were,
Peggy called them cathead biscuits.
yeah,
Right, you
well,
want
they
more
were
coffee?
kind of, she rolled them out some, but not a lot.
You want coffee? Yeah, yeah, Mike's got it right there.
Not a whole cup.
So how do they taste,
That's
Pat?
not-
Are they close to done?
Yeah, they're pretty close to
Pretty
them.
close, okay, we'll let them go another 5 or 10 minutes, so.
We used to eat mayonnaise on her cornbread.
Yeah, she used to eat mayonnaise and raw bacon on her cornbread. She would slice that, I could call it raw, but I guess because bacon is smoked, it's not really
It
raw.
wasn't raw.
Kentucky prosciutto.
But she would slice off a chunk of that, what I call raw bacon, and put mayonnaise and cornbread and eat as a sandwich. Did you?
Who's that?
Mama Helton.
Oh,
Did you like that? Raw bacon and mayonnaise on cornbread?
I don't think we have raided raw bacon.
Well, it's,
Any bacon we ate probably was cooked, fried for breakfast.
Yeah. Mike left because when I took him to my grandma's, one of the first times, he said she cooked what she called smokehouse meat.
Yeah, right.
And it was baconish, you know, or
It was
fat back or something.
that, Grandpa would get the smoke stuff put over that to make it smoke. You know, was better than fat back,
Oh.
actually.
Well, she would slice that up and she would fry it, you know, and just be so meticulous with it. And then she'd take her fork and lift it out and put it in a bowl. And then she'd pick the skillet up and pour the grease on top of it. So I never quite figured out why she went to all the trouble to transfer the pieces of bacon into the bowl. But she did.
I always remember her breakfast because she would have, always had a meat. She had eggs, she had apples, she had biscuits, and she could fry an egg like I love it. She fried an egg so hard it was just like rubber almost, but that's why I liked it.
Well, Dad would make, one of them would make gravy while the other one fried the egg.
Uh-huh.
Ralph,
And
Ralph,
Teresa.
you said when you would go out hunting or something, when you and Don and maybe Jack would take some bacon out and fix it. How did you do that?
we would take it out in the woods and broil it over a fire.
Mike, if he comes back in here, I'll have him tell the story about when he'd go hunting as a kid and would go up to their house. He talks about it quite often with his friends about how she would cook breakfast for him and all of his friends to go hunting. And I'm like, she'd get up. Well, I mean, she'd get up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. She's fixing breakfast in time for.
That was her life, cooking. Cooking was her life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's all she ever did.
Well, you all missed some of these.
On sometimes,
We wanted you to
We
tell
have.
a story about when your grandma would cook for you to go hunting.
Off squirrel hunting.
Yeah.
we would have, but raise baby chickens.
Oh, yeah, Sandy has the recipe.
And
Oh,
Mom has been up
no.
and killed 2 roosters and 2 chickens and prepare them and fry them for breakfast.
You had chicken for breakfast.
Chicken for
That's
breakfast.
that's for chicken and waffles were cool, huh?
We never had fried chicken for lunch or supper.
It was always for breakfast.
It's always for
Well, that's
breakfast.
quite unusual, to
Yeah.
agree. Okay, so Sandy, our source of all good things, has said, she said Mama always slept in her slip. She didn't have a nightgown. And Diane said she saw Betty do Mama's hair once. It was as long like Crystal Gale. And James Helton would like to be known as Jimbo. So there we go, Jimbo. I knew it wasn't James. She said that Mama used self-rising flour, 2 cups of that and 2 cups of cornmeal. She put lard in a 9x12 cake pan and put it in the oven and got it hot, and then put in her cornbread mixture. So, probably Sandy, somewhere in there's got to be some eggs and milk. So,
I don't ever remember her putting anything except meal and flour and maybe some grease.
but she had to have milk or water or
Yeah, right.
something.
Salt
Yeah,
to make it.
yeah. But so she said it was a 1-to-1 cornmeal, self-rising flour and
No,
cornmeal.
it wasn't. It was more than, say, 2 cornmeals to 1 flour or
You think?
something like that.
Well, we'll have to, maybe in our next broadcast, we'll do a little cook-off. And we'll do my mom's cornbread, and you can do your mom's cornbread, and we'll see who wins. What?
Well,
I'll fry fish.
And Michael, come here and tell your story about going hunting.
Okay, I gotta do it quick, 'cause I got fish.
Okay, you take this podium.
Whenever squirrel season, when I was little, there wasn't any deer or turkey or anything like that around here. So squirrel season was always a big thing, and then all summer, so it's the middle of August, and finally get to go hunting. We'd go to Mama Helton's at 5 o'clock in the morning, and she'd be up and have biscuits and fried eggs and bacon and gravy, the whole ball of wax, you know.
right.
We'd eat breakfast, and then we'd go squirrel hunting after that.
And what time was she getting up to do all
Well,
that?
she's probably getting up 4 o'clock.
Did Papa Helton go with you too?
No,
No.
by then he wasn't really able. And sometimes I know Jack and some of his boys maybe be there, me and Pat, and I don't know, Tommy probably sometimes. Be careful now, it's hot.
You can't see through that.
No.
Now, wait a minute, I'll get it off.
You're
I'm just gonna get a slot of food. So, for everybody out there that's not gonna get to eat this, I apologize. My 95, I don't know if y'all knew this, my 95-year-old aunt passed away this week.
Oh,
Sorry.
Who?
Aunt Garnet,
God love her.
Aunt Garnet,
Oh, did she really?
yeah, she actually got COVID.
Oh,
And she died, and she was the last of my dad's siblings, so I don't have any aunts or uncles on either side. And my mom was the 13th child
wow.
of 13, and my dad was the 10th child of 10. And all my aunts and uncles, even their spouses, are gone. She was the very last one. She was 95, and she just passed away this week. And I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, and I actually wanted to invite all your nieces and nephews to come and be able to talk to you. But with this COVID thing, I don't want to expose you to anything, right? And we thought about doing it outside, but it's just so iffy. So anyway, when Aunt Margaret passed away, it made me think I really need to do this. And for all of these Helton cousins, you are kind of their source. You're the oldest member of this family now, right? Because Dawn's been gone for a long time, but your Aunt Irene is gone, and all of them.
Shirley,
and-
Jenny,
Yeah, Irene was older than Don.
Yeah.
She's about 4 years older than me.
Okay. But all the questions that, you know, I wish I had asked my grandparents or even my parents, because my parents are gone. So that's why I wanted to give them a chance to be able to ask you stuff. So not a lot of them have showed up on here, but we've recorded it and we'll put it out there so they all can see
You
it.
got it.
And if you want to do this again, if you've got something else you want to either talk about or cook,
Well, I still got a lot of talking to do.
well, we have to find something to do while we're talking. So we'll have to cook something. Peggy has an
I
idea.
do have do you know how Mamaw Helton and Papaw Helton met? Just by being in the same community, or did they
always know each other?
did they always know each other? Mamaw and Papaw?
What caused the romance that caused you? How did Bruce and Marthy meet?
Who? How did they meet?
Yeah.
Because they lived in.
Yeah, they always knew each other.
Yeah, school
That's kind of like
together.
this romance.
Yeah.
We always knew each other.
Yeah.
Okay, Pap, I'm gonna call them done, you think?
You could take one of them out with her and taste it.
Well, you're my official taste tester. Let me go get a knife.
Well,
And you have a fork? Yeah.
Yes.
she,
So I think that all this family
Yeah,
history and
that's-
lore, okay, you think that's good?
yeah, that ought to be.
Okay, we'll put that one back together.
And
I'm gonna put some of these out in this bowl and go show the camera so that everybody gets a good look at
Yum, yum.
what we've created. And like I said, these were,
I smell that bacon,
nope, bacon?
Sausage.
sausage.
Oh, sausage, yeah. Or you're smelling fish, because Mike's out there frying fish.
Yeah, I think I'm smelling fish too.
So, well, we've got quite a load here.
Yeah, now, I like that pot better than what we got.
Maybe
Look,
Santa Claus will bring you one of these.
That one with the green paint on it, it's cooked a whole lot. Cooked a
Yeah,
whole
these
lot.
were the most requested things at any of the family reunions or get-togethers that everybody wanted
Well,
some.
I had intended to have one this summer,
Yeah, I'm sure.
but
Yeah,
this, what you
that's the
call
most
it, thing,
requested recipe of the family get-togethers are Uncle Ralphie's.
There it is. Ta-da!
Yeah, we're gonna ta-da it. Okay, I'm gonna take this loose. Oh, hanging it up, I hope. Okay, so there you go. There's your Uncle Ralphie's cabbage rolls. And Sandy would like to see us do the stack cake thing. But the problem, Sandy, is we can't eat it for 3 days. It'd be a long video. So there's your Uncle Ralphie and his cabbage rolls. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you got any questions, you can post them to me, and we'll get them answered. And I wish you all could be here. Sorry you can't. So, Ralph, got anything to say to your family?
Well, they are in a way.
Do you got anything you want to say?
no,
Lizzie,
You had a lot to say until this point. Okay.
let's see.
Okay, let's see. All right. Bye, everybody. It's good to see, or good to spend time with you. Okay, there's Teresa, and there's Peggy, and there's Dan, and Ben. Ben,
look up.
say hi.
Hi.
And there's Mike. Okay, we love you all. See you later. Bye.